Hi, I'm Kate. Let's talk theater. Today we are going to be talking about some news coming out of PBS about some Proshots I'm so excited for. Let's just jump in. I had to make this its own video because I cannot wait. We are getting Yellowface, Girl from the North Country, and Kiss Me Kate this May. Let's go. So first up, we are going to have on May 16th on PBS Yellowface. This was filmed in its final weeks, and this is starring Daniel Day Kim. This was a play that I just never got to see. I'm excited. I know nothing about this play. And I'm going to choose to know nothing, but I do appreciate that we are getting some plays that felt a little more popular. I'm not like a Shakespeare girly or anything like that, and so PBS does feed us, but it's not always something that I want to say. Last year we got Pearly Victorious, which was very exciting for me because it was the first time that I had seen a play and then got to see a Proshot. So that was awesome. And so I'm very excited to see Yellowface because I heard really great things, but it was just, again, something that kind of passed me by. And I don't know anything about it because I tend to try to not learn about things before I see them, which I know is controversial based off of a video that I made about Come From Away that went, I guess, fairly viral. And a lot of people were like, how do you not know what this is about? How do you buy something and not know what it's about? What are you doing? Like lots and lots of comments. I like being surprised. And so, yes, there are things that I know about. There are things that I'm familiar with. But if I've made it this far in my life not knowing what to expect, I am not going to look it up. I am going to happily go in blind, or at least as blind as possible, and just experience it firsthand. And so that is my plan with Yellowface. Again, it comes out May 16th. I am so excited. Great performances. We love great performances. I love that this is something that we are all going to get to see. Next up, Girl from the North Country. This was filmed shortly before the musical reopened post-pandemic. So I wonder if there's no audience. Diana, the musical, I think, filmed without an audience. But then Come From Away did film with an audience. I think they had like special COVID procedures before things started. So we'll see. We will see about that. Girl from the North Country is going to be airing May 23rd. This I did see. And I saw I saw a chunk of the original cast. I actually saw it in May of 22 where a ton of people were out with COVID, so much so that they actually had to call in Anthony Edwards to cover that weekend, even though he wasn't in the show. Otherwise, they would have had to shut down. So I actually haven't seen a lot of the original cast because so many people were ill. I did see Mare Winningham, who was incredible, but I actually didn't see a lot of the people that will be in this Proshot, so that's exciting. But yeah, I saw Anthony Edwards. He just covered. And like thinking about those things now is so wild because obviously, I mean, we're still seeing shows end up getting canceled or having to kind of, we saw Aaron Tveit just kind of show up for Moulin Rouge once, right? Like these things are still occurring, but definitely that early in kind of coming back and seeing a show just really pull it together is Mare Winningham calling her husband, Anthony Edwards, and saying, figure this out. And luckily it being a good role as sort of this narrator figure to come out with like a chunk of script in hand and just read in front of a mic, and like that worked for the character. Definitely cool. So it'll definitely be neat to see. I saw this on Broadway and I saw it on tour. And I still don't know what this musical's about. I have never seen a musical where I was like, that was a good time. I don't know why, but it was a good time. I love the vibes of Girl from the North Country. That doesn't mean I know what's happening, but I'm hoping that if more of the world sees it, and that if I see it for a third time, maybe I will figure out what's going on. It's weird. It's so weird. It's just the Great Depression. It's just depression. great and regular. It's good vibes. It's a kind of jukebox musical where they're not singing it out. They're not doing Jagged Little Pill and like singing the songs as if they are acting them. They are singing them. What can I compare it to? What can I compare it to? Actually, because like Moulin Rouge also, what? They sing it like they to the side kind of perform these. It kind of like Spring Awakening, but that's not a jukebox. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Please comment below if you can think of something that I'm not thinking of. But they are not trying to act out the songs like Hell's Kitchen or anything. They are sort of performing them to portray the vibe, the goings on, but are not trying to directly act them out, which makes it more confusing. And so it's very strange. It's an odd one. If you like Bob Dylan, you like it, I guess. I don't. I didn't know a single song really, except for like Rolling Stone, obviously, and like Make You Feel My Love. But for some reason, it's very powerful for me to hear especially the finale pressing on, right? Like it's good, but I don't get it. I don't know. Let me know if you know. Let me know in the comments if you understand Girl from the North Country. Next up, Kiss Me Kate. I am very excited for Kiss Me Kate. I love Stephanie J. Block. I got to see her in Into the Woods, and so I am excited to get to see her again. And this is definitely a musical that I don't know how I feel about it. And I've not seen it, oddly enough, come around me regionally. And so I'm excited. I only know Kiss Me Kate from like a middle school production that I was ensemble in as a child, right? So I'm looking forward to experiencing Kiss Me Kate as an adult in a way that is free. We love that because I don't know, older musicals, like musicals of that era, I can't say I love them. I can't say that. For instance, I loved Once Upon a Mattress. I watched the Proshot on PBS of Anything Goes. Did not care for that. Nothing was happening. I love a musical where nothing happens, but like it has to be doing it for me. And like Anything Goes, I wasn't feeling that Proshot. And so I'm looking forward to seeing this. I love the song Always True to You. That is a song I will just listen to. And I just give us more Stephanie J. Block Proshots. You know, I loved that for falsettos. I'm ready for more. I'm very excited. This is a juicy season. It does make me wonder when we're going to get Suffs, because we know PBS filmed Suffs. So when PBS filmed Pearly Victorious, they filmed it before it closed in, I think, January, and it was on PBS by May. So we know they can have a quick turnaround. But Pearly Victorious didn't tour. So maybe they just weren't worried about that. And you also then got to see Pearly before the Tonys, which was great. But again, it didn't tour. Suffs is touring. We know that. I believe they've already announced some dates. And so my assumption is going to be that it's going to tour first. And they're going to hold on to it. I wonder if that means we'll get it next year. But it will likely tour for longer than that. And that just speaks to the constant conversation we're having on Broadway about, you know, do Proshots help or hurt, right? I do see an argument for saying that a Proshot could take some ticket sales away. I don't think it's a vast amount of tickets, but I could see a show like Suffs where the staging is not something you need to see in person, let's be honest. I could see people seeing that and not spending the money. I think you always run the risk, I guess, of it being something that somebody doesn't love. And so now they've seen it and they're like, I don't need to see it again. I definitely, I mean, I feel that way about Wicked now that there's a movie, to be honest, but I've never loved Wicked. So I'm like good now, you know? So I do see an argument, but I think at the same time, especially as we continue to look at how just our dollar is being stretched more and more, I do think it's a harder sell to ask somebody to take a chance on something. And so really a pro shot allows people to say, okay, I actually enjoyed that. I feel safe spending my money on this now. If you have the money to see theater and you love theater and you want to see it, you're going to spend it, right? So I do wish. What's frustrating about Broadway sometimes is it's like just research. Like there's got to be a way to like do market research, to do research about this. Like would a pro shot help or hurt? Like there has to be a way to actually get data on this, because I will admit that not every show is Hamilton. Right? We watched Diana. Everybody got to see it for essentially free. I did not ever need to see that. I would have not given them a dime. To be fair, you know who I did give a dime? Bad Cinderella. Because there was no other way to see it, and I needed to know. And so, and I'm glad I saw Bad Cinderella. Okay, let me be clear. So there has to be a way to do some surveys, to do some research, to kind of see, would people see it? Because we also know that like pro shots are out there, and it's not stopping people from seeing, say, regional productions of Rent every 5 seconds, and regional productions of even Waitress have been popping up all over the place. They could just spend $20 on the pro shot, and they're not. They're still going to see these shows, right? So I would love to know actual stats, because my bet would be that we would find it would do more to help sell the show and essentially advertise the show than not. But again, I understand the thought process of like, is there a sector of people that would say, I'm fine now? Probably, but I bet you that is a smaller percentage. There's got to be a way. There has to be a way. They need to be doing this, because we're also seeing a lot of shows flop. And the show flops this season. We had a couple big flops, like massive flops. And all the theater influencers say, duh, of course nobody was going to go see this. Isn't anyone looking into that? Isn't anybody doing market research like they would on any other product to see if there's an audience to want to buy tickets to see your show? I don't know. So it feels like the business side of Broadway needs to pick up a little bit and figure some things out. And especially now when we are seeing shows really struggle this kind of end of February, March, which shows tend to struggle this time of year. It seems like it's struggling a little extra. We, again, are kind of stretching that dollar more and more. We just simply don't have enough money to go to a Broadway show if we're spending that much more money on rent and groceries and all of the essentials. Like, our budget for sort of the extras just shrinks and shrinks and shrinks. And so I think Broadway is really going to have to sit down and say, do we do more pro shots? Do we stream? What do we need to do to figure this out? Because I think we've seen a lot of new shows come up. And I think, anecdotally, that some of the best shows, like Hadestown has been a really successful new show. I personally believe that the fact that their album is the show probably helped. Same thing with Hamilton, right? It's a pretty safe bet if you enjoy the album that you're going to enjoy the show. You really get a full picture as much as possible from the album. And so I do think more than ever, people are really going to need a reason to feel safe buying that ticket. And we're seeing a lot of shows rely then on stunt casting or just famous people being cast in these roles. And I do wonder if we're going to have to find some other ways with streaming, and if we will kind of finally see that happen. So in conclusion, PBS is blessing us with 3 pro shots, 2 Broadway pro shots, and a London pro shot. We're going to have Yellowface, a play, Girl from the North Country, a jukebox musical, and Kiss Me Kate, a sort of classic musical. I am very excited. It is rare, I feel like, that Great Performances comes out with this chunk of content, and I am thrilled for all of it. So I am very much looking forward to this. Let me know down below what you're looking forward to most. Again, let me know if you understand what is happening in Girl from the North Country. Please feel free to explain. And do all of the YouTube things for me, if you will. Like and subscribe and comment whatever you like. I would love to hear from you. Follow me on social media if you want to connect with me a little bit more. And until next time, thank you so much for watching. And thank you for talking some theater. Bye.